At the very basic, it is time and material, project-based services. Cut to today, how do we access customers and how do we find new business? It's all down to trying to understand what are the challenges that they are having at this point in time. And one of them is, of course, you talked about Gen AI. So one of the challenges everyone seems to have is how do we start? Where do we start? My name is Srini Annamaraju. I'm the CEO and founder of Stack Digital. We are a London-based, UK-centric tech challenger consultancy firm. We are about 5 years old. We do work in AI, data, cloud, cybersecurity, engineering work, etc. And my personal background is one of having worked for more than 2 decades in large global consultancies and having seen many war stories from my work with fairly large banking clients right through my 20 years here in the UK. We started Stack back in 2020 to see how we could gain from that experience, how we could solve some of the problems that I have seen in the many years that I have worked through these consultancies. So looking forward to having this chat with you, Pete.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the introduction. 5 years and 20 years in a business and digital innovation. In 20 years, a lot of those things changed and happened, and new tools, and you are introducing those tools to companies, implementing those, consulting on how they can use Gen AI. I'm pretty sure you focus quite a lot, as you can see here. I've been in Gen AI as a user right from the very, very first days of all the Mid-Journeys and OpenAIs, and I always test those, right? And I know that companies very often don't utilize it. They know about them, but they don't utilize. They don't know what actually that can bring to optimize the processes and the workflow. So talk me about the very beginning of company, how you started. Did you find the product market fit very early on, or was that a bit of a challenge to start with to really find how do you introduce something completely new to companies? How did that work for you?
Yeah, so I'll probably answer that in 2 parts. One is back in 2020 when we started. This was almost 5 years back, March, April of 2020, when COVID was breaking, and we still went ahead and started this business. Abhishek, who is my co-founder, a finance expert, and myself, we both started this business back then. Then, of course, the kind of buzz that AI currently has, that buzz wasn't there back in 2020. I think somewhere in October, November 2022, OpenAI started the whole chat story. That's when it became. But at that time, what we wanted to solve for was how do we help mid-market clients? How do we solve the problem of talent services, specifically focused on 2 or 3 areas? You might say data, cloud, cybersecurity. Those 3 were the ones that we picked up, and we called our company Stack Digital because we wanted to attack the full stack of the companies. And we went for mid-market fintechs, mid-market manufacturing firms. We worked with some system integrators as well. And the mid-market is an interesting segment because it is not courted by the large consulting firms. It is often found to be difficult to reach for small consulting firms also because of the capability mismatch. So we thought, we'll go after the mid-market, and then to us, mid-market is anywhere from 50 million revenue to 500 million revenue. And so that segment definitely helped in terms of wanting to understand what the challenges were technologically and how do we help them do that. At the very basic, it is time and material, project-based services. That's how we started. But cut to today, how do we access customers and how do we find new business? It's all down to trying to understand what are the challenges that they are having at this point in time. And one of them is, of course, you talked about Gen AI. So one of the challenges everyone seems to have is how do we start? Where do we start? And what are the challenges that we'll see? Will we get ROI or not? Do we have the team to do something about it or not? Do we have the right data for starting the journey? Right. So that's kind of the refrain that we usually see. And I always say that, you will never have completely clean data to start with. So if you are expecting Mr. Client to have everything hunky-dory and then you want to do Gen AI or AI for that matter, you'll probably be forever striving. So we have to start somewhere, and that's what we do. We start with some AI-related readiness conversations. We have our own IP in terms of the questionnaires for methodology for getting into AI. And essentially, we assure these mid-market clients that we are not going to be charging you T&M rates forever. So we have fixed modules that we can really take to them. And essentially, we are beginning to move towards service as software rather than delivering project-based services or just staff augmentation T&M kind of work. So I think those are the things that we do, and that seemed to appeal to a lot of the founders, co-founders, the other side. And when they realize that there's not going to be unnecessary scope creep or cost creep, then they feel much better to talk to and less insecure, if I may say so. So that is the ease with which we help them get into the AI gravy train, if you.
Really cool. Very good story. Great beginning. Find the product market fit. I love the target market. So is the size. Because they are big enough that they should actually start doing and start optimizing repetitive tasks or however other, workflow optimizations and really using Gen AI, using IT to support them with. But they may not have, as there's some huge companies, that department that could literally do that for them, right? So they need that outsourced space, someone that is up to date and really knows how they can help. And then, from what I understand, you described that you have modules. So you productize those most popular, probably options that your previous clients went for. Is there something that really stands out of what companies are really interested in optimizing? Maybe even per department, is it sales? Is it their human resources? Maybe some marketing? Maybe removing boring tasks with automations? What's that number one thing in that module that's maybe the most popular or you found the most success with?
Yeah. So I think there are a few things there. It's not that the conventional model of service expectation from clients has changed. With one client, for example, we're working to do a comprehensive Salesforce assessment, right? So whether their CRM is working well. Now, this is a classic case of a fast-growing financial services mid-market firm. And so when we look at that, we say, okay, what is it that we can do in the service as software model for data cleaning, right? So that is one of the major issues that happens when you do so-called this ERP readiness for AI kind of areas. So that's one example. The second example I'd give is really about customer service. That's one area that everyone is talking about as being the low-hanging fruit or early wins that one can have in the customer service areas. Clearly, to be able to decide a scope and then say, okay, this is the customer service chatbot that we can put in. Whether you do it as services software or whether you do it as semi-autonomous agents, whichever two models that you want to do, those both can be done pretty much 70% level up to which it is horizontally capable. And then you use the last 30%, the last mile, as it were, to verticalize that capability and then say, okay, now a chatbot is a chatbot, but then how does it become a more applicable chatbot for a fintech versus a pharma firm, right? So that's the last bit that you do. And those kind of generic, but then customized for the last mile, those are the ones that are really being received very well in the market.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And customer service, yes, I hear that a lot. And a lot of businesses are looking into this. Maybe even from my personal experience, if I email a company or contact them from other way, if they take 8 days to pick up the ticket, 80% of them could be probably resolved very, very easy. I want to change my address. Yeah. Where is my parcel? Right? These are things that can be completely automated. 10% may require actually agent to really deal and explain. And companies kind of know that it is possible, but they don't know if it's possible for them. Everyone thinks may not work for me. It's complicated because how they've operated for a long time, right? They think the human is needed, and it is, but not for all of them. For probably about 10, maybe 20% of actually those tasks. It really probably depends how your systems are silos and legacy systems, right? Yes. There are some challenges with this, obviously, but then you can start with maybe automatically replying within the first 10 minutes, making your customer happy, heard in very, very natural language as well. It doesn't sound like robot, because sometimes when we discuss that with companies that are looking into this, they have this picture of, I've called and press one in this robotic voice. It's not. It's completely different level, and they're not really educated of what is really possible. Okay, so I absolutely love this. Let's even discuss, for example, you would like to go after customer service departments in the sizes of a company. The industry or niche maybe doesn't matter as much because you can adapt this. What's been working for you in those very first discovery calls, finding those conversations with new people and introducing them to what's possible and finding if it's aligned with the challenges that they have? What's been working? Maybe some digital channel networking? Is it, is there something that really stands out?
I think networking is definitely one thing that works. Past relationships to open a conversation, a trustworthy conversation in which a client executive can open up in a kind of safe environment, talk about their organization challenges. I think networking helps. Digital channels, we've not done much of digital kind of advertising or things like that. We haven't done that. We've scaled quite well without any of this. Not to say that we are happy with it. We will definitely bring in a lot of that beginning this year. But I think what really works is bring down the resistance in their mind about wanting to do something. There's a lot of inertia of rest or thinking in client executives' minds about one is how long will this take? How much will this cost? What all touch points inside my organization do I need to change? Especially more so if it's a regulated industry, so those kind of things. But, today with the technology that we have, both to engage customers as well as customers engaging us, we should be okay to do a very quick discovery without really spending a lot of time, because there's a lot of experience in the firm that we can bring to bear, and that can shorten the time. Also, that the confidence that a firm like ours can bring to the client by saying, we are okay to invest our time and, we show you results. And if the results work, then you pay us. Otherwise, fine, we will learn from you. And it's always a two-way street. So I think that works. And then the pricing models are also shifting. Service businesses have to start thinking like what SaaS companies traditionally have thought of, outcome-based pricing or, transaction-based pricing, and more to the former outcome-based. So I think we are thinking of those. We're saying, okay, we will do this proof of concept or, this piece of work and you pay us on the basis of outcome. We're very comfortable with that. So I think those kind of conversations move the needle pretty fast towards the decision-making side. But it's complex. It's not, one cannot put it under the carpet and say it'll all happen very quickly. So interesting journey, Pete.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. We market it. So I always say, sell the holiday, not the plane ticket, right? Not do it on the chatbots on your website. No, would you like your tickets to be picked up in 10 minutes, natural language, and you never have to worry about employing another customer service?
Yeah.
Essentially, what's going to happen next year, if you're going to implement the system, is you're going to just keep the best customer service employees, right? Because gradually you're going to need less and less of them. And AI is going to take 70-80% of those tasks within 6 months, 12 months, right? However fast you want to move. So obviously that could really spark the, imagination of ops guys or even CEOs of those companies, and maybe someone in really high management, maybe HR, that maybe they struggle with finding agents for customer service, right? So how long does implementation like this would typically take, just to start with MVP or something? Maybe, because obviously as a consultant, you would look at all those different touch points, or maybe there is something quick wins, right? Maybe it's usually, look, 30% of the clients just want to do this. This could be automated one thing. 30% of the requirement for staff doing this will be gone in 3 months, 6 months, right? How long you finding those implementations usually take?
Well, you're looking at least 3 to 6 months to start seeing the results. But the way we accelerate that is to use through our partner channel, through our own team capability. We have semi-ready, I won't say products, but components or accelerators that can speed up the start of the conversation. For example, if you're talking to chatbot or your customer service bot, then we have something already programmed and ready, right? To a recruitment, large recruitment services company, we go there with an ability to show them that filtering CVs is something that we can do much quicker than setting it up again or programming something and giving a summary, etc. So I think the ability to go to a client and say, here is what we will demo to you, and therefore 50% of the journey is already covered. Now, what you do is you make that story, that demo, that capability relevant and pertinent to that customer's reality, that industry's reality. And of course, you bring in in the next 3 months, you try and see what are the constraints that the company CEO wants implemented, or what are the workarounds to do that. So I think you do that bit in the 3 months, and then the remaining 3 months, 3 months after, is all about beginning to see results. Because remember, we're talking about the holiday and not the tickets, as you put it. So we are looking at how do we show them the outcomes that we promised right at the beginning of the 6 months, right? So I think, and we found that for mid-market firms, they're not overly bureaucratic. So I think things move pretty fast. And then, of course, we also want to get out of their hair. So at the end of 6 months, if they want us to be there, keep serving them, happy to. But if they want to go ahead and do something on their own, we build their capabilities in-house and we get out of the way. There's always so much more to do in a given client, apart from getting stuck in one swim lane. So those have worked. I think 3 to 6 months, I would say, and then sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yeah. That's a super speedy. When you look at from the perspective of company wants to change this, even if they're going to change this by getting a new manager, bringing different maybe solutions that they have experience with, the 6 months doesn't even cut it, right? Because obviously they just need to learn more about the company. But let's say even, okay, they have a capable IT departments, they can start looking. The amount of meetings, the meetings about a discussion, that's going to be 3 months, right? And then they're going to have to learn. Now you have pre-made components, you reuse something that you've already done, tried, tested, you have some results. Obviously you need to adapt it maybe with different data, maybe with different approach of something. But that is super attractive for companies and very speedy, really, right? And as you deploy it, and obviously probably not straight away for everyone, start testing. But the results in 6 months' time is going to be, look, the client satisfaction in those 500 interactions that, were with AI, the satisfaction is X% higher than those with people, just because you've picked it up, not in 2 days' time, in 10 minutes, right? For example, fantastic product. And now, for the listeners, we're just talking about a tiny little part of what you do, because when we discussed at the beginning, obviously it's not just customer service. You can adapt Gen AI, and any form of really digital innovation to different departments. Okay, let's discuss about, clearly I understand, and we've discussed before the podcast, your growth has been huge over the last 5 years. You've gone very, very quickly, and I take it you're pretty ambitious for the next year or two. Talk me through how you're going after those companies now. What's going to maybe change? Have you find in your marketing, in your sales, you're doing something differently just to capitalize on those fantastic solutions and products that you have?
Yeah, I think we've grown fairly fast in the last 5 years. There has been a slowdown in 2024, but overall, if I look back over the wider, the longer horizon in the past, then we have done well. I think the future will be interesting, and like many companies, we are all exploring how things will change in the next 2-3 years. But one thing is very clear, that even the clients want to ship faster. They don't want to take longer. So I think the speed of delivery, the speed of releases, and the expectation of results, all of that has become expedited. So that is one thing that we are seeing happen. So in terms of our growth, I think we definitely want to use more of the channels, more of the associations that we are part of as members, Tech UK in the UK. And I think we also, as a mid-market consultancy in a 10 million plus kind of revenue category, we also have a lot to do in terms of talking about our compliance capabilities ourselves. We are ISO 27001 certified, Cyber Essentials Plus, of course. So I think those are there, which customers really want to see. They just don't want to see innovation. They want to see that backed by capabilities ourselves. Basically preaching and practicing coming together rather than. The one major focus for us this year and the next will be talking about our capabilities through case studies. Because we've done over the last 5 years a lot of work which can be capsuled and can be spoken about from client backwards. So what is it they gain? It is not important what we did. What is it that they gain and how did they gain, right? So that I think is something that we have not done enough of. So we will do more of that. And probably the second bit is stop thinking of ourselves as consulting or services oriented firms, but more as outcome enablers for the customers. And how do we do that? Both in terms of positioning, as you said, again, about the holiday, not the ticket, the positioning bit, but also about, they feeling comfortable that even if they don't give us a commercial engagement, here are a set of guys who can talk thought leadership and who can give ideas and really give contrarian thoughts to get them thinking and, get them on the journey, which is full of practical advice, not just about expedient or just easy, convenient things that they would like to hear. So that has helped us, and I think it will help us more. We have to be a lot more on the marketing and sales side. We haven't done that enough. So that would be the focus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Super cool. Yeah. So essentially you want to really improve your, oops, you see, I got into the point when I need to actually cut off. So, okay, let's go back to this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree. Obviously, this is very important in any form of growth, right? To get clarity on, how to get better at prospecting, educating those prospects, closing those deals. And case studies are one of the best things that can actually help you. My advice would be, instead of written one, record the conversations with those decision makers that are already your clients and edit them into form of a conversation when showing transformation of what it delivered, right? Srini, how it was before you engaged with Stack, how you were doing this, how you're doing it right now. Have you noticed any improvements in this particular area? And it's really going to allow in 3, 4, 5 minutes video for the next prospect and someone that lands on your LinkedIn page or any other content page to visualize of what you actually deliver, and they perform really, really well. So that's something that we always advise. And video content is so much easier to consume by those prospects than sending them to written case study. You have to be dedicated to read through some of those long case studies, right? Right. Okay, in terms of those sales, you've mentioned loads of activities that you're trying really to be more visible, bring more authority to what you do, and really to show it. Is it to support your prospecting? Is it to support your, the mid part of the sales funnel or closing? Which path are you finding the most difficult? Last year and this year, which one you think is going to be the most difficult part?
I think we always do very well with the end parts and the middle part. I think we do much better in the middle and the end. I think we are on the journey to become much more savvier on the first part of the sales funnel, finding new customers, identifying quickly what their pain points are, and then showing them the movie scenario, how they can get to that point. And that's never easy, because at that point of the journey, both parties are trying to understand each other. There is a limit of skepticism about what's going on. What are these guys saying? Are they overselling, underselling? What's going on there? So that is there. The middle part is about being competitive, being genuinely helpful in terms of understanding what their problem is. If they just need an architect to devise a solution, just give them that, rather than expanding the problem at that point and then doing that. Towards the end, it's all about transparent pricing, about making sure that we can get off the ground as quickly as we can to help them. Usually by that time, they are looking at 2 or 3 other partners or 1 or 2 other partners, and therefore it's a relative journey rather than an absolute selling that you do at the beginning of the journey. So some of that comes into picture in the last part of the funnel, which we have done reasonably well. It's the first part that we have to do better at. And conversations like this, talking to experts like you, always helps.
And I hope, some of our listeners are interested to learning more. Where could they find you online if they want to, jump on the discovery call with you, or even find out a little bit more information, maybe read through some of your case studies that you do have? Please tell me your website. We'll obviously leave the link below. But if there is any social media channel that maybe you're pushing and there is some more information, please mention this as well, and we'll leave the link.
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn if you search for me, Srini Annamaraju, and we are there on LinkedIn as well as a company page. We regularly post. We have newsletters that go out. Could go out more regularly than we'd like, but yes, they do go out. And our website is gostack.co.uk. The company name is not GoStack, Stack, but we just added a little prefix for it. Co.uk is the website. Yeah, so LinkedIn, website, these two are key. We are based in London, Canary Wharf. So if you're minded to catch us in person, we are in Canary Wharf, as I said. So most welcome for a coffee. We'll get together in our office and talk about your challenges, talk about our challenges. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Srini, for this conversation. I think you explaining, For people that are not from digital innovation industry, what you actually can bring and how you can start thinking differently about the processes or systems that you already have and you do day to day. It was very, very informative, and I hope that it got someone's attention, and they will contact you. We'll leave those links below. Srini, thank you very much for this conversation. I'm super grateful that you joined me today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pete.